Hello, and please set up your journal page for our next topic, which is going to be ordered pairs. You are probably familiar with some ordered pairs that we use in real life. Our globe is covered with an imaginary grid consisting of latitudes and longitudes, and we use coordinates of these latitudes and longitudes to find places all over our planet. We call them GPS coordinates. Much in that same way, we can use coordinates to find points on a graph or on a coordinate plane. So we're going to be talking about that today. We need to go over some important vocabulary. All right, here is some important terminology that we're going to be using for our discussion today. Coordinate grid, x-axis, y-axis, origin, x-coordinate, and y-coordinate. A coordinate grid looks much like this, kind of like graph paper. But in order to make it a true coordinate grid, we need to add a few extra features. First off, let's add an x-axis. The x-axis is a horizontal line on our coordinate grid, and you can see that it has an arrow on the end of it. That's indicating that it would continue going on. We just haven't drawn it forever. Our coordinate grid also needs a y-axis. The y-axis is a vertical line which goes up and down, and you can see that it also has an arrow to indicate that it would continue going in that direction. We use these axes to find our coordinates, and where these two lines intersect, we call that the origin. So right there would be the origin. The origin is where the x and y axis intersect, and it is where both x and y have a value of 0 on our coordinate plane. One term that I forgot to add is the term ordered pair. We use an ordered pair to name a point on our coordinate plane. In order to locate a point on our coordinate plane, it is helpful to label our x-axis and y-axis with numbers. In this instance, each of the lines on our axis in our grid are going to equal 1 unit. So I've numbered the x-axis and y-axis by 1s, 1 through 10. Let's say that we want to find an ordered pair that we will call A, and let's say that A is the ordered pair 2, 5. Each of those numbers is in a particular order and helps us to find the point on the coordinate plane. The first number is always the x value, and to find it, we move along the x-axis until we get to that value. So we would start at the origin and we would go over to 2. The second number is the y value, and the y value tells us how far up or down the axis we want to go. We're going to move up or down along the y-axis to find the y value. So in this instance, our y value is 5. So from where we stopped on the x-axis, we're going to move up along the y-axis until we get to 5. And at that point is where we would put our point A. All right, let's find one more point. Let's find point B, and let's say that it is the ordered pair 5, 2. I'm using the same numbers, but you'll notice that I switched the order. So to find the first part of our ordered pair for point B, we're going to move along the x-axis all the way to the 5, and then we're going to move up the y-axis to the 2. And that is where we would place our point for point B. So you can see that even though I use the same numbers, my points are in completely different locations. So it is imperative that you pay close attention to the order of our numbers. An ordered pair is always going to be with the x value first and the y value second. What if I have a point on the coordinate plane and I want to label or name that point? Let's take that instance, and let's say I have a point right here. The first thing I need to do is determine what the value of x is. So for that point, my value of x is 8. If I follow down, I can see that it lines up with the 8 on the x-axis. Then I need to find my y value. As you can see, my point lines up with the 6 on the y-axis. Therefore, this point, let's call it point C, would be the ordered pair 8, 6. All right, let's see if we can practice a few of these, and then you'll try some on your own. When you have a grid like this, before you can start using it as a coordinate plane, you need to set it up with your x-axis and y-axis. You'll need to draw your x-axis and y-axis on the grid and label it as you see here with the numbers 1 through 10. It might be helpful for you to put an x by the x-axis and a y by the y-axis to help remind you which is x and which is y. All right, here I've prepared 4 practice problems. On the first 2, we're going to find the ordered pairs for points A and B. And then on the second 2, we're going to graph or plot the points for points C and D using the ordered pairs we've been given. All right, so first off, we have point A. And you can see that point A is right there where the x and y axis intersect. Remember that at that point, that is called the origin. And at that point, both the x and y axis have a value of 0. So that would be the ordered pair 0, 0. All right, let's look at point B. To find the value for point B, we need to see what the x value is and then what the y value is. If I follow the x-axis, I can see that it lines up with the 3. And then if I follow the y-axis, I can see that it lines up with the 2. So my ordered pair would be 3, 2. Next, I want to graph the ordered pair 1, 4, and I want to plot that there and label it as point C. So I need to go along the x-axis, 1 along the x-axis, and then I want to go up 4 till I'm lined up with the 4 on the y-axis, and that is where I will plot my point and label it C. All right, now I want to plot point D. In order to plot point D, I need to move along the x-axis until I get to the 5, and then move up until I'm lined up with the 3, and that is where I would plot my point and label it point D. Awesome. Now it's time for some on your own OMOs. All right, to do your OMO, you will need to set up another coordinate plane as you see here with these points. You are going to name the points F, A, I, and N, and plot points R, O, C, K, and S on your coordinate plane. Once you've got that set up, please pause the video and come back once you're finished to see how you did. Awesome. So here is what you should have ended up with. Did you get it right? If not, go back and find your errors. Make sure you understand. Ask a neighbor if you need help. Don't forget to take pictures of your notes and put it in your assignment.